What's going on, people? Welcome to One More Watch, Please. Today, we're thrilled to sit down with Adam, the co-founder of Farr and Swit, a rising star in the world of microbrand watches. Known for blending modern design with timeless craftsmanship, Farr and Swit has captivated watch enthusiasts around the globe. So let's find out all about the brand and the watches from Adam. Hey Adam, how are you doing today?
Great, great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How was the day?
Not bad. We got nice weather here in Midwest of the United States. It's like 70 degrees. Well, let's see. What is that? What is that in Fahrenheit? That's us in Fahrenheit. What is it in Celsius? I'm bad at going backwards. Um, Geez,
I
Louise.
suppose as long as it's warm, doesn't matter.
It's nice. It's nice. Got a nice cool breeze. We're all good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
all
always
good.
it's always raining and miserable here in England.
That makes for good soccer weather or football weather.
Yeah, football, uh, like we call it here in England. Cool.
You follow a team?
No, I don't really watch football.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, why don't we start telling the viewers about your background and how did you get into watchmaking?
Yeah, I mean, I went to school, in kind of a smaller local school called Southern Illinois University in the States in Illinois. Graduated with like a marketing and business administration degree. Was lucky enough to snag a job at Leo Burnett Starcom, which is like a advertising agency and media placement. And I was in that for 4 years. Awesome transition from college to real job. After that, did a little quick stint at a startup which was bought by Oracle, and then moved on to do manufacturers rep work with chemical companies that basically sell lubrication for air compressors that go into factories. Which is actually, as dull as that sounds, it was a lot of fun, and I'm just phasing out of that right now so that I can. We just finished closing out all my contracts July 2024. So now I've been focusing full time on this watch company, which is what we started back in 2018 and kind of kept this as a passion project, and it just keeps kind of consuming more and getting bigger, and it was time to make the transition. Why we started it, basically myself, Andy, and Zach, we were watch collectors. That's the standard micro brand story, right? We watch collectors. We had this idea to make like a diver pilot combo, which is the seaplane. All work together to try and come up with a good design, check all the boxes of the specs, get Swiss automatic movement in it, get the sapphire crystal bezel, spend a bunch of money on loom, and then go with a seaplane name so that it's kind of, the mix of the pilot and the diver, and then promote the whole theme of travel, adventure, that comes along with a seaplane.
Cool. Uh, so I think you kind of covered my next question as well. The story behind Far and Sweet. Uh,
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, it was something that I kind of came up with, the idea to do this, and reached out to Andy Patzold, who's a jewelry designer, won lots of awards for his custom jewelry that he does. An old friend, Zach Switowski, who's a watch enthusiast as well. We kind of just came together. Told him, "Hey, I'm gonna make a watch. I'd love to have you two involved, and it's gonna be a fun ride." Pulled them together, and then we kind of, yeah, we did the whole process of getting the prototype, and then unfortunately we got the prototype. The guys who did with the prototype spent all the upfront cost, in machining, but didn't like necessarily the quality that we got. So thankfully brought it stateside, and went that route, working with Wiegand Watch Company out in Mentor, Ohio, who does a fantastic job with all of our assembly or water testing, quality control, service. It's Yeah, it was awesome. It's awesome.
cool. I like how you've named the brand based on your three guys' names. But it's really important which part of the name you've used. It makes the brand really stand out.
Thanks. I don't know if you've ever had to like come up with a brand name or had to come up with a name for something. It's one of the most challenging things out there. I swear, we spent months trying to figure stuff out, and then using German words, using themes of timekeeping, things of adventure, and then at the end, it was like, you know what? We've got three parts of our names that we can mash together and make a really cool kind of sounding brand name. And what's fun about it, I always tell people, is you know, it looks like Farr and Swit, but as with any fancy watch company, you gotta takes a little while to find out that you've been mispronouncing it, right? So like Panerai, I think I was calling it Paneri for I don't know how many years, So yeah, Farr and Swit. I have no problems with anybody calling it Farr and Swit. In fact, I'll say that verbally if I'm on like a radio show or something with somebody so they hear it. But it's kind of the fun hook where if someone comes up to me or someone says Farr and Swit, I'm like, oh, you did your research. I like that. I like that.
Cool. So whilst you're establishing your brand, what kind of challenges did you face?
Ooh, there's a challenge right there. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my 3-year-old screaming as the grandparents leave. The challenges are, it's basically getting the design. So design is the hard part because I tell people, like, when you design a watch, when you come up with something, it's not necessarily, you put in 6 hours, you get 6 hours of work. It's something that just you can continuously design and scrap stuff. You can continuously design and scrap things and have to start over and go different routes. I mean, it's a great journey. It's just it's hard to measure in time. So that's the first thing. But with the seaplane, necessarily, we had that one planned out. We kind of had the stuff we wanted to hit. We knew how it was going to look. It was just fine tuning the details. But after that, yeah, you run into cash flow. I mean, unless you do a crowdfunded big, large pre-order, you've got to cough up the cash to do a large minimum order quantity. So that's the biggest challenge is, going in, jumping head first, financially committing to it and saying, we're going to make this work. This is going to happen. And then it's the lead times for us. So like right now, I come up with a watch. It's about 6 months to get it in my hand. So the whole production. So even when we get something, I don't like to leave people hanging on long pre-orders, but we've got the concept. Now we got to wait 6 months to get it. So those are the biggest challenges is the design, it's the upfront cash flow, and then it's the lead times.
Cool. And did you face any other challenges like finding the right manufacturer, for example?
No, we got lucky. I did a fair amount of research ahead of time. Really dug around. Like I mentioned, we did something with somebody that we were thinking maybe we'll go with them. And that was more the overseas route, where you're working with companies in Hong Kong or, which work basically from Shenzhen, China, bringing it over to Hong Kong. But the movement quality that they had selected wasn't there. The loom wasn't there.
Yeah.
The overall watch quality just was not what we were looking for and what we were kind of driving for. So luckily, like I had reached out to, the manufacturer, Weekend Watch Company in the States, and that's what I wanted to do. And we figured out the cost so we could make it happen. And it's been a great choice. Not looking back. I mean, no looking back. It was a very good choice, and we're going to keep working with them.
Cool. And what kind of movement do you use in your watches?
So we have a wide range now. So we started with the Swiss automatics, and that was kind of, we wanted to get people interested in the Swiss automatic movement, right? So Sellita SW200-1s. The one I'm wearing actually has the ETA 2824-2. We were lucky enough to snag 100 of those, and we're like, okay, we're going to make a limited edition run version of the seaplane. Then we've got a really fun one, which is the VH31 from Seiko, which I don't know if you've seen it. It's a sweeping quartz.
Yeah.
So it does 4 ticks per second, and you can put it side by side with an NH35 Seiko automatic movement, which we have in one of our other watches. And unless you're really looking for it, it's hard to tell the difference. Like, I love it because it tricked me into thinking it's an automatic, right? And it has the ability to set down on the table and not have to worry about it. Come back 3 days later, pick it up, and it's ready to go. We weren't going to use quartz when we started the company. We're like, we're going to do automatics. We're going to get people to be, deep into orology. We want to get them to be watch enthusiasts. No room for quartz. And then we wanted to kind of get down to a lower price point, and we're having a lot of fun with the loom, which is high cost. We're trying to think, how do we get this below? And thankfully, we found that sweeping quartz movement, and I was converted. So after that, then we've even moved to a solar-powered movement, which has a sweeping chronosecond. So it's a Seiko Epson VS71A that I don't know a single micro brand that's tapped into it. I've kind of held the name close to vest because it's so cool, and I just spent so much time looking for it. And then, of course, we've even got just basic, digital movements, digital watch movements. So we run the gamut from sweeping quartz, solar powered, NH35, so Japanese Seiko automatics, Swiss automatics from Sellita to ETA automatics.
Yeah, I think there are still not a lot of microbrands doing decent solar watches. I don't know why. Everyone's running behind Seiko and Miyota movements, but I think solar powered movements are a really good move as well. I really like them.
Yeah, and like once I get a hold of them, so it's funny, I have the concept, I design the watch around it, and then we get them, and like the ones I wear the most are the sweeping quartz, the solar powered, and the digital, because like I said, like I just pick it up and it's ready to go, and its timekeeping is accurate. It's awesome. I mean, David Ross, who you guys may not know, but he was a Chicago Cubs manager. He had one of our watches, which had a theme of tied into the neighborhood of where Wrigley Field is, and he liked it. He's a big guy. He's got like Hublots, IWCs, Rolexes. So he's a watch collector, big watch enthusiast. And he would wear our watch during the game because he could leave it in his locker room, come back, put it on, pull it out, put it on, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I like about quartz watches, and especially the solar powered ones, because they're close to what you can get to automatic watches, right? But you don't have to worry about batteries. It's just always there.
It's like maintenance free,
Yeah. Cool. I think now that we've talked a little bit about watches, let's talk about any particular model that you've got for us today.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I mean, I can run through.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to see the mixtape personally.
Yeah. I'll show our mixtapes because these ones have been our biggest hit, I think, and it was a surprise hit. So I'll try and bring them up. So these ones were, we always say, based off of the same watch that everybody had in the 80s, the 3-button, right? The 3-button digital. I'm assuming you had one. Everyone I know who's collected watches ever has had one of these on, a type of watch like this, at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I had this idea of the cassette tape, and it wasn't fitting into the other round-shaped watches. And then I had bought my son a similar type of digital, trying to get him into watches and wearing it, and he was having a blast with it. He was using the stopwatch. He's setting the alarm, to wake up. And he said to me, Dad, why don't you have one of these? And I hadn't thought about it because, our price range was, $750 down to $400. So I didn't even think about it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And then took a little time, and the next thing I know, I'm like, the cassette tape. It was coming in. It was fitting perfectly. We can get a clear case. We can do. So I've done 2 sets. We've done the clear, right? So this is like your full clear cassette tape. Clear front, clear back, and then this one is the nod to where it had that black plastic, the opaque plastic on the back,
Yeah.
and then the clear front. So yeah, these have been a big hit. We sell them for $35. It gets them on anybody's wrists. We get them to watch collectors. We've been at shows, and the watch collectors, they were their kids, and they buy them for their kids. And I tell people, like, that's That's one of my biggest wins is when we get our watch on, a younger person's wrist that never was wearing a watch. You kind of get them interested in timekeeping. You get them interested in the whole idea of wearing something cool on their wrist. And my goal is to cultivate a new generation of watch enthusiasts. As cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah, I've recently bought watches for my son, two sons, and they're the Casio version of that. And since I've shown this watch to him, it's like, Daddy, when are you getting it? Daddy, when are you getting it? So I'm gonna have to get it soon. And I've got one for myself as well here. I've not unboxed yet because I still need to make a video. But I kind of bought three so we can match.
Very cool. Very cool. Yes. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like, look, they've got the watch, and that's a watch collector bug. Is you've already got a watch, but you want another one. So you've already got them started, right?
Yeah, and they get really mesmerized with the lume on my watch as well, and the ticking sound of the movement as well. Like every time I put them to bed, they're like, "Daddy, can I put your watch on my ears and hear the sound?"
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And they're only 4 and 2 years old.
That's fair. Yeah, I have a 2, 9 and 10-year-old. So yeah, and the 9 and 10-year-old, the 10-year-old actually likes to help me out. So if he can, for example, we've got a little trunk show we're doing at a men's store on Thursday. So he's going to come along with me, and he's very excited. He gets the lume flashlight out, and he can show the lume flashlight on stuff and show people the glow in the dark. But yeah, no, that watch, I would say, has been great for us because it's opened up a whole new market. It's made younger people wanting to get into watch collecting. So yeah, the retro digital, and I've already got the next. We're calling it the B side in production of this model. So it's going to have a couple more little tweaks to it.
Oh, sounds good. I look forward to seeing it.
Thanks. Do you guys want to hear about any of the other watches? We had talked about the solar before.
Yeah, definitely. More the merrier.
Yeah. So the solar powered one, and I'll hold this one up because this has been kind of one of our more recent releases. We started with this, which was the Vice limited edition. As you see, we kind of got like an 80s theme to it, and then followed up with a Vice bubblegum. All of ours, let's see if the lume will even show up on the camera, but all of them have like a different style of lume with them. This one's kind of got a bluish hue to it, and it's got a real cool like synth wave art to it. Other ones, like in terms of lume, I have got two that I really love. Of course, our full lume dial, which it's got 4 different paints on it. So it's got a C3 blue, a C3 green, a dark orange, and a BGW9, and it's like a flashlight at night. That's actually one that I've worn, and my kids asked me to turn it off because he couldn't sleep. So it's that bright. And then we got our original model, which is the seaplane automatic, which I tell people it's kind of a more conservative. It's one that up close we designed like a starry night up top and wave pattern on the bottom. So it's one of the ones where it's still got cool lume as well. It's got the BGW9 grade A on this one because they don't have an X1, but it's a watch that you take off and you pass to someone when they compliment on it. Those are like the 3 that I always go to. Of course, it's hard to see the lume again. If you guys are in person, you can see how much this stuff lights up. It's a big draw for a lot of people, and then after that, then it's the lume, it's the crazy kind of 80s vibe we've been emitting a lot lately that has really been hitting with customers as well. Yeah. But and then of course, this is the original. This is the OG, the first watch we ever designed. It's the seaplane, but we call this one the Midnight Landing because it's all blacked out. It's PVD coated. It just has a super stealth look to it. This is the one that was like the drawing board when we were doing all the design work. This was the way we were going to do it. We're going to black it out. We're going to make it really stealth, make the whites really pop. And then asked the guys who were doing the prototypes to make one steel. Just let's see how it looks. And it came in
Yeah.
like, oh, we got to do both of these. They look awesome.
Yeah. I think I personally do like the seaplane and the path. Is it the Pathfinder?
The Wayfinder.
The Wayfinder. Yeah. Yeah. I do
Yes.
like both of them. Two of those two as well. But for anyone who wants to check them out, I'll put the link in the description to Farr and Swit's website. So make sure you guys check it out. So Adam, to wrap things up, if someone wanted to start their own microbrand, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them?
You have to really want it. You can't just half it. You can't, you have to really go for it, and you have to believe in yourself. So when you have what you're coming up with and you've hit it, you've got the design, you've got to go. You can't hesitate, you can't second guess. Financially as well, like once you commit, like you got to go, right? So that's the hardest thing. There's for what I've seen in terms of entrepreneurship, it's really, you can get all the way to about an inch from the finish line, but it's that last inch, like getting it made, getting it done. That is the hardest push to do, and you really got to keep pushing. So the term I always say is grit. You got to have grit, and the old, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sure, that's absolutely 100% true, but you got to believe in yourself, and you got to push, and you got to push it all the way through. Don't stop.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
so many hurdles. There's so many places where you can give up. I'm telling you, like in all of it, there's a bump everywhere in the road to stop. And if you really want it, go do it. You can do it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I would like to add there is enjoy the process. Don't just be focused on the goal that I wanna create a successful brand. Make sure you're enjoying each and every step of it, and eventually you'll get there if you keep trying.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and the best part about it is the people. To be honest with you, when you get something you've designed and somebody enjoys it as much as you did creating it, it's the people. It's the excitement they get when, like, a reviewer. I had a guy who just did a review on the digitals, and he opened it up, like unboxing, and when he opened it, he did like a laugh, like, oh my gosh. And it's like, yes, like that's the rewarding stuff. There is how people are as excited as you. And you're right. That's one thing I am not great at, is I don't pause and enjoy the moment. I don't always do that. I'm always so set on trying to make this happen and trying to work it. So yes, very good advice. Enjoy the whole process.
Cool. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. It's been really nice talking to you about your brand and seeing all your watches.
Oh, I thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks for staying up late to record with me.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I normally do this in the evening anyway, after the kids are asleep. It's all good.
Yeah, I still got one that's running around, so